Okay, so now let's move on to the third phase, that is the test design phase. Test planning is done. We got our test strategy and test plan document. Now the third phase is the test design, where we will start creating the test cases. Entry criteria will be these documents and deliverables will be the test cases, test scripts, if any automation. So in our scope, there is no automation. So the deliverables will be test cases and test data. This we are going to create in this phase. Now from this phase, actually, the testing is start. Now this will be now from this phase, it will be interesting. Now you will find the class interesting from this phase. And what is test case? What is test scenario? From our test planning and test strategy document, we got to know we have to test this many modules. So first we will focus on the first modules, that is the create an account. Okay. So for each and every model, there will be a test scenario. What is test scenario? It explains the high level definition of a requirement. It will give you the high level definition of a requirement. This is the meaning of a test scenario. So in test design phase, first of all, we create a test scenario. So how test scenario template look like? So this is the test scenario template. Project name, client, how this one has been created. So this one has been created with SRS document. Who has created this? Starting date and the approval date. Now under this, you will create your test scenario. First will be your test scenario ID. You will give any ID, any unique ID that will represent that particular test scenario. Then you will provide the reference from where you have found this and you have created this test scenario. So in our case, this create an account is the first model which we have to test. So for this model, we will create a test scenario. So what will be the high level definition? So the high level definition will be validate the working of create an account. Create an account section. So validate the working of create an account section. That means now for create an account section, this is my first module. This is my first section. For this, I have created a test scenario, and for that particular test scenario, one second. This is my test scenario, and this is my scenario ID. TS means test scenario 001. So this is my first scenario. This I have given. What is priority and what is number of test cases? I will come to this later. So as of now, for the first module, I have given a high level definition of test scenario. Validate the working of create an account section. So create an account section. This is my first test scenario, and now we are going to create test cases for this test scenario. So what is test case? We derive test case from test scenario. For a single test scenario, there can be so multiple test cases. There can be one test case, there can be more than one test case. So it depends on the requirement. It depends on the test scenario. So test scenario, you can say, is a subset of test A test case, you can say, is subset of test scenario. Test case basically captures a requirement. It will basically defines how you are going to test a particular requirement. So that details we basically write in test cases. This is test scenario. This is my first scenario. And for this first scenario, I'm going to create test case. Let's see how many test cases we can identify and how we can write the test cases. Okay. This is my test case template. Here also there will be versions that you can maintain. Like in first versions, how many test cases you have created that you can specify here. If there is any update or in a next version, if you are working, so then how many, which kind of test cases. We are not going to mention in detail, just on a high level we will mention. So how we will mention, we will see that later on. For this test cases, there will be first sheet will be version history, second sheet will be test scenario. If I open this, so here you will see so many things. So as of now, I am removing all these details. It's no use for us. Okay, you can change your application name here. Luma, your client, who is the client? Client is again Luma. Okay. What is your reference document? So my reference document will be SRS, software requirement specification. Now, same thing you can copy and paste from here. This is your test scenario ID. So copy this and provide it here. Your reference is SRS. And what is your first scenario? Validate the working of create an account section. Right. Now, for this particular test scenario, create an account section. You will start creating a test case. Now you will open another sheet and you will rename this. Okay, create an account section. Now for create an account section, you will start creating your test cases. Okay, fine. So this is how for every scenario, we will keep on creating on different sheets, and under that sheet, we will create our test case. Now let's move on to the application. For create an account section, now we have to identify how many different test cases we can create. So in create an account section, how we create test cases is the first test case will be to validate the details, like when I click on this create an account button, so this heading is coming or not. Under these headings, how many sections are there? This one section. Under this one section, these fields are there. Then this is another section. Under these many fields are there. Now there is a create an account button. So we will write a test case for the different fields, the different headers and different sections. So this is a very general test case we create for each and every model. So first test case will be validate you have to give a test case ID, test case 1, and here you have to give the test scenario details. So what is your test scenario? Validate the working of, or you have to mention, first you have to mention the ID, and then you will mention the detail. Create an account. Okay. So this is my first scenario, and for this I'm going to create test case. Now you will write a test case title. So in my case, what is my first test case? So always start when you are writing any scenarios, always start with the validate word. And when you are creating test case, it always starts with the verify word. What we have to verify in my first test case? Verify the headings and the, now we will write here verify headings and sections, verify headings, sections and fields of create an account section. So this is my first test case where I am doing a general testing for this section, for this fields, right? So this will be my first test case. So in the test case title, you have to write the test case, what testing you are actually doing. So that test case detail you have to write on a very high level, in a single line, in a single sentence. And then the next section is prerequisite. Prerequisite means before testing this, what are the things you need in your hand? So the first thing that I need in my hand is this application URL. So this URL you have to specify here. And in my test strategy document, it is mentioned to test it in Chrome browser. So I will write in Chrome browser. Open the application in Chrome browser. So if you see, if you have to reach to this section, so first of all, what you have to do, you have to open this application in the browser. So this is your prerequisite part. Before, without opening, you cannot reach to this section. So this will be your prerequisite. You need this application URL and you need where you have to open. So I have to open in Chrome browser. So this details you will specify in the prerequisite. Now, test data. So you need any test data? If you click on this, so you are just verifying these headings, these fields are available or not, these buttons are available or not, right? You are not providing any data. You are just verifying these sections, this field are available or not. So this is a kind of UI testing. UI testing means user interface testing. For this section, all the details, all the fields, whichever is mentioned in these software requirement documents are available or not. So for this kind of testing, you do not need any data. So then you will write not applicable. Now the next section is the expected result. Now in expected result, what you will write? You will write test steps. Remember, just follow this hierarchy. First will be the test scenario. Under the test scenario, there can be a single test case or there can be multiple test cases for a particular scenario. And for a particular test case, you have to write test steps. So test steps, we will basically explain how you will test this particular test. What are the steps you will follow to test this particular test case? So that steps you have to follow. Let's suppose I told you to do this testing. So what will be your test step? First, you will open this URL on the browser. Next, click on this create an account link. Next, the next details that you are going to test that you will write one by one. So in that way, you have to write your test steps so that not only you, if anyone follows this step, they can easily test the requirement. In our case, what is the requirement? Verify headings, sections, and fields. Create fields of create an account section. If I have to test this one, so for that I have to write my test steps in such a way so that anyone can follow it and anyone can test it. So in a very simple language, you have to write. And when you are writing test steps, you have to write it on like you are giving a command to somebody. Do this, do this, do this, do this. So you have to write the test steps in a way like you are giving a command. So in the command format, you have to write. Just you will write what you have to do. Only that part. So now I will show you like how I'm writing the test case for this. So first step, what? In the prerequisite, it is mentioned to open the application in Chrome browser. So from prerequisite, what we will do, we will open this browser and we will open this URL. So this part is already covered in the prerequisite. Now after that, what will be my steps? I have to go to this section. So how I can go to this section? I will click on create an account link. This is a link. You have to click on this link. So what you will write for such thing? You will write in step number 1. Click on under single quote or double quote. You can write whenever you are specifying something unique, any module name or any section name. So keep that name under a single quote. Click on create and so you have to write the name in the same way it is available here. C is capital, A is small, A is capital. Create an account. So in the same way, you have to write the name here also. Create an account link. This is your first step. Okay. Now what will be your second step? After clicking on, first you will verify this header is available, is displaying or not. So next you will write check under the single quote header. That's it. Check create new customer account header. So this should be available here. Next, this section, personal information. Under personal information, what are the fields are available? First name, last name, this checkbox. So now I will check under this personal information section, these 3 fields are available or not. So for this, you have to write a test step. So what you will write? 3, check below fields under Sorry. Personal information section. So now what are the fields? That fields you have to mention. The first field is first name, then last name, first name, last name, then what is the next field? Sign up newsletter. Now what is this? This is a checkbox. This one is text field. Right? So you have to also specify which kind of field it is. It is a text field. Text field means you can enter some value. This is a checkbox. Right? Now you will write the next step. What is the next step? Sign in information. Now you will verify these fields are displaying in this section or not. So what you will write again? Check below fields under sign in information section. Now again, one by one, you have to specify the fields. What is the first field? Email, then password, then confirm password, right? So you will write here email, then once again. Password, confirm password, right? Then lastly, there is a create an account button. Now what you will write? In the fifth step, you will write check create an account button. That's it. So this testing, this kind of things you are going to test for this particular test case under the create new customer account section. You are just verifying these kinds of sections, these kinds of fields. This is the button, or you are able to see when you open this section or not. So this will be your test steps. Understood? So this is how we write the steps in a command format. We are giving a command, do this, check this one, click on that one, check this one, verify this one. So always remember, once you are writing test scenario, you have to start with the validate word. Now when you are moving to the test cases, once you write the test case heading, so you have to start with verify. And here for clicking, you have to use click. For checking, you have to write check. And slowly we will see so many different fields. So how to write the test step for such fields, that I will also explain. Okay, so this is one simple test case I have written. Now this test case I have written with the help of application only, but actually you will not get this application. You will get a software requirement specification. What you will find there? You will find a picture. One second, I'm coming. Okay, so in that document, there will be a first heading, create an account section. Under that section, you will see this image, this create an account section image you will see. And in that, after below that image, you will see the details of all the fields, like what this field will do, what this field will do, what this password will do, what will this confirm password, what will happen if you create an account. So all such details will be written in that in the software requirement specification. So that I'm currently creating. In the next week, I will show you. And from the next week, we will write the test case with the help of SRS, not with the help of application. Because this will be available when developer will complete this development. So meanwhile, what we will do, we will follow the SRS document, because there also we will see all the details, and that we can use for writing our test cases. Okay, so this is the first test case I have written. And the next section, test data. We do not need any test data. Now there is an expected result. Now this part we have to write. Expected results you will write based on the requirement. Like once you click on create an account link, so what will happen? In the requirement, when I click on this create an account link, so what it is mentioned, like what will happen? What is mentioned in the requirement? So that part you have to write in the expected result. So if I click on create an account link, so what will happen? User will be navigated to create an account page. Before that, this was the home page of this application. This was the home page. Once I clicked on this section, so now I have moved on to the create an account page. So once I will click on this, what will happen? User will be navigated to, sorry, not will be, you will write should. Once you are writing expected results, so you will always use should keyword. User should be navigated to create an account section page. Like once I do this, then this will happen. So you will write this in the form of should be. Always you will use should be in expected result. Okay. Now what is the next step? Check create new this header. So in the next step, what should be the expectation? Create new customer account header should be displayed. It should be displayed. This is my requirement. Now, what is the third thing? Check these sections. So I will copy first. First, I will copy this section, and now I will update the third one. Below mentioned fields under personal information section should be displayed. Or you can simply write mentioned fields, like in the steps, whatever the fields are mentioned, these fields under this section should be displayed. Right? Similarly, for fourth step, you can write mention fields under section should be displayed. Now check this button. What I will write? Button should be displayed. So this is how you will write your expected result in the form of should be. See, this is just you have to write. If you do this, what will happen? If you do this, what will happen? So this is a cause and this is effect. For this cause, what will be the effect that you have to mention in the form of should be? Okay. Now we do not need this section. Only in test case design, we only create these many columns. Then there will be a test scenario ID and test scenario name. Then a test case title you have to give, prerequisite, test steps, test data, and expected result. These are the things we capture in a test case. So this is one test case I have created. Okay, for this particular section. So in the same way, how many test cases? What are the different test cases that we can create? Now for this particular section, we can create one section, one test case. Well, how we can create? We will check whether the first name and last name are mandatory or not. We will check we are able to click on this checkbox or not. We are able to enter any value on this one. Right. So all the details we can create a test case for that. So for this personal information section, one test case, there will be a positive test case and there will be a negative test case. Positive test case means we are able to enter value and we are able to click on this checkbox or not. So what will be the second title? Verify personal information section fields. This is my second test case, right? What we can do here? This is the homework that I'm giving. You all have to do. So understand this. In this test case, what you will do? You will check whether you are able to enter a value where you are. You will enter a value here. You will enter a value here, and you will click on this checkbox. That's it. Now there will be another test case. Verify. Oh, sorry, not this one. Where I have written the name. Just now I have written it. Where I have written it. Let me write it again. Verify. Personal information section fields with data input. With data input means you will enter all this data. This is the one test case. Now what will be the second test case? Verify the same thing without data input. Now this is your negative test case. In this test case, what you will do? You will not enter anything. You will directly click on create an account. So you will just check if you do not enter anything. So this message is coming or not. For the mandatory field and for not mandatory field, no error message will come. So this is called negative testing. We are doing a negative testing without giving any data. If I try to click on create an account, so whether I'm getting this is a required field, this is a required field message for this mandatory fields or not. So this test steps you have to write. How to write that I have explained you. Just one by one you will write. So write it. I know there will be some mistakes that I will review in the next class. So this will be the second test case. Third test case for this one. Now same thing you will do here. Find in information. Without, first will be with input, with data input. With data input, you will click on create an account and you should not receive any error message, or don't create any account with data input. Just validate whether you are able to enter data or not. Second test case will be second field. Personal information is the mistake here. Now same test case we will check without data input. Like you will not enter any data here and you will click on create an account. So for that, you should receive same error message like this. Currently the values are here. So for this, you are not getting any error message, but for this field you are getting an error message. So you will not provide any data and you will click on this and you will check whether this error message is coming or not. So you are just writing test cases. So test step and expected results, both you have to write. Okay. Now next test case can be this password and confirm password. Both field will accept the same value. So for this also you can write one test case. Verify password and confirm password are accepting same password. This is your one positive test case. What can be the negative test case? Are accepting, are not accepting different password value. This will be your next negative test case. So see how I'm creating test cases. So in that way, you have to create test cases for such fields. First time I'm creating it because you do not know. So now get an experience like how from this fields I'm thinking about both the positive and the negative scenario. This is the job of a tester. Okay, and lastly, there will be one test case. Provide all the details and click on create an account. What will happen? Verify. Here will be a test case. Verify, or you can simply write we'll write verify create an account for a customer. In this case, what you will do, you will provide the correct data and you will click on create an account. So what will be the expectation? A customer account will be created. So for this website, what you can do, you can create an account for yourself. First of all, write a test case, test step for that, and then create an account for yourself so that you can log in to this application. Right. So here I have only mentioned the test case title. All these fields you have to update. Like these fields will be common. This too will be common, this scenario, because for one scenario you are creating this many test cases. So this test case title I have already written. Now you have to think about the prerequisite. You have to write the test steps. You have to think if you need any data. If you need any data, so you have to mention that one. And you have to write expected results, whatever the steps you have mentioned. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 test cases you all have to write. I will share this document, this template with all of you. You have to update, you have to write the test steps for all these cases. After completing it, send me all these documents via email. I will provide my email ID also. And in the next class, any of your homework I will open and I will explain. Like everyone, it is not possible to check. For anyone, I will open and I will review and then I will explain you these are the mistakes you have done. So that you can understand like what mistake you have done and how you should rectify it. I know there will be so many mistakes, but just remember one advice. You have to write the test step one by one. Like do not miss any step. Every single step you have to mention. what you have to do in a single test case that I have already explained. So you can replay this recording and you can first understand what you have to do. Then write the test step one by one in the command format. This is the homework. I have already explained. So you can replay the recording after 8 o'clock. You can replay the recording and you can listen what homework I have given you. For every test case, I have explained what you have to do. If you replay the recording, you will understand what you have to. Then write the test step and update the test expected results. So for one test case, how I have written, if you again listen the recording, then you will understand. Then start writing the test step for the rest of the test cases. These test cases are very small, so I hope you can write it. But this is just a beginning, right? After that, you will see complex test cases where there will be so many test steps. So that also we will see. These are very basic. I am expecting you all can write it. For positive testing, you just have to check whether you are able to enter the data or not. For negative testing, you will not enter any data and you will click on this button. And then you will verify this error message is coming or not. Same this thing for this section. And for this to password confirm password, first you will enter same value, then you will enter different value. In this way, you have to write the test step. And then enter all the correct details and click on create an account. You should be able to create an account for the customer. This is a bigger, longer test case. So this will be your homework for the next week. By Friday, complete it and send it to me so that on Saturday I can explain. Then we will move on to the next module and we will see how we can write test cases for the next module. So these are the test cases I have created. So how many 8 test cases I have created for create an account section. Now come back to the test scenario. This is my test scenario. How many test cases I have created? 8 test cases. So that number you have to mention. Right? So that's all for today's class. Meanwhile, while writing the test cases, if you face any difficulty, you can ping in the group. If I can provide any suggestion, I will provide the suggestion in the group that you can follow and write your test cases. Think, manual tester should have a very good logical skill. So this is the way trying to develop your logical skill. So now this is the correct way of practice. And you have myself to review your work. So if you do not do this assignment, you are only doing your loss. There won't be any loss of mine because I know how to write test cases, how to work in a company, how to work in a project. So don't waste this time and also don't waste your money. So thank you.